Hello, Pistons fans. David Mayo from MLive here with another video answer for one of your Ask David questions this week. We had a good round of questions about the draft, the Pistons' future going into 2016-17, how they build their roster. But I thought it was appropriate here 2 days before the NBA draft if we put a bow on the package that was the 2015-16 season. And our friend Jeff asks what I think LeBron James, where I think his performance in the NBA Finals places historically against other individual performances in the NBA Finals, and what the Pistons have to do to close the gap between themselves and the Cavs heading into 2016-17. As to the latter, it's a matter of roster building. It's a matter of internal improvement. If you can find a superstar talent like LeBron James somewhere along the way, so be it. That makes it a lot easier. That's probably not going to happen while I'm on this beat. That's a generational player you're talking about. But, you know, the Pistons are on the right track. They're one of the few teams that have had year over year improvements for each of the last two seasons. They were +3 year before last. They were +12 in victories last season over 2014-15, Stan Van Gundy's first year. So they're on the right track. They're doing the right things. I don't think you gauge yourself by the Cavaliers. You gauge yourself by yourself. The Cavaliers are a team built to win. Right now, it won't last forever. It will break up in time. It's not a dynastic franchise, and that's why I'm really glad, actually, that you didn't ask where I would place this championship in championship history, because I don't really like doing that. I don't like parsing championships. I don't believe in it. I find it distasteful, including the chatter now about, well, what would have happened if Draymond Green hadn't been suspended for Game 5? What would have happened if Andrew Bogut hadn't been injured and missed Games 6 and 7? What would have happened if Draymond Green learned not to kick guys in the crotch? What would have happened if Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love had been healthy in the 2015 finals? Would the Warriors even have one set of championship rings to be talking about, much less being denied a back-to-back when they were up 3-1 in the championship series? There's no excuses. There is no excuse in this game. They had the Cavaliers on the ropes, and one of the great individual performances in history bailed Cleveland out. So that's why I'm not fond of parsing championships. I didn't do it with Golden State last year when they faced a series of teams in the playoffs whose point guards were missing. They were the best team in each of those series. They won 4 games in each of those series. They were the champions last year. I don't think you compare basketball. I wouldn't dare to compare this Cavs team to the Bad Boys or to the Bulls of the 90s or the Showtime Lakers or the Spurs of early this century. I just don't think it's right. I think you play the team in front of you at the strength it's at the time you play them in that era. This is a game that basketball reinvents itself like few other sports. This was a game that started with peach baskets and ladders to get the ball out of it and evolved into a narrow lane game and a wide lane game, a non-24-second game and a 24-second shot clock game, a no three-pointer game and a three-pointer game, a game where hard fouls were acceptable to a game where they aren't acceptable now, a game where hand checks could throw guards off on the perimeter to no hand checks, a game of center-centric offense to now a game of 4 out, 1 in, to ultimately where we're heading now, a game of 5 out, none in, which invariably is going to make it a set of scenarios, a set of circumstances where a guy like a great center like a Shaquille O'Neal or a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, someone with that kind of skill on the interior, could actually come into the game and maybe flip that trend back a little bit. Some of these things are cyclical. Some of them are evolution. And I think that the Cavs in this era right now won the championship. You have to give them that. Do they beat the Thunder in a 7-game series at the end of this season? I don't know. Do they beat the Spurs in a 7-game series, the team that lost to the Thunder? I don't know about that either. What I do know is LeBron James had one of the great NBA Finals in the history of the game. I think of Hakeem Olajuwon in '94. I think of Jordan against Utah in '98. Of Dwayne Wade in 2006. I think of LeBron last year. And think also of LeBron back in 2011, his first finals in Miami, when he had a horrible individual series. Absolutely did not raise his game to the moment. And they the Heat didn't play well against Dallas because of it. Individual performances can lift teams. While we can't compare eras in basketball for some of the reasons I just mentioned, and it extends to other sports. Baseball had dead ball era, live ball era, low mound era, high mound era, AstroTurf era, no AstroTurf era, steroid era. Time after time, games reinvent themselves to fit the athleticism and the geometric evolution of the sport. And that's what's happened in basketball. You can, however, compare individual performances. And because I have some question as to whether the Cavs could have beaten some of the other teams in the West, I think that elevates what LeBron did. I think the question that whether the Cavs could have really beaten the Warriors at full strength, whether they could have beaten the Thunder at full strength, whether they could have beaten the Thunder at all, whether they could have beaten the Spurs, it's all immaterial because LeBron put this team on his shoulders, down 3-1 in a really difficult situation, and lifted a team, carried a team, willed a city to a championship. You have to give him credit. You can hate on LeBron all you want, but you just sound stupider by the day. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back next week, Tuesday, another round of your Ask David questions, and this Thursday be back for the NBA Draft, live draft blog on Thursday night. Thanks, everyone.